Are we very old friends?
No, I wouldn't say friends, Dolores. I wouldn't say that at all.
With Game of Thrones ending in a couple of years, HBO will be looking to its new sci-fi drama Westworld into taking the reins as its flagship show. And after its first season, it's safe to say that this western epic is certainly at a good standpoint into doing just that. Westworld has taken the world by storm over the past couple of months. The amount of theories that are out there begin to border on the insane, and turning a 30 to 40 plus year old feature-length film into a multi-season television series will not be an easy task at all. Well, after the show's first run, you can discard any fears and look towards the future of the show with a calm eagerness. The problems that a lot of shows run into when they try and weave together a lot of complicated storylines is that they tend to ask viewers too many questions and not wrap them all up with satisfying conclusions. Well, Westworld gave us some huge questions straight out of the gate, and above all else, it succeeded with flying colours in answering our biggest questions. Westworld itself essentially acts as a theme park. Within it are synthetic android hosts which are designed, built and maintained by the park's HQ. And as a guest, someone who is paying the money to enter the park can rest easy as they cannot be harmed by the hosts. Special limitations are put in place so that the guests can roam around and do whatever they so desire. So whether you strive to become a local hero or decide to turn your hat towards the direction of evil, Westworld is the place for you. And you see on more than one occasion that there are plenty of brutal and sadistic guests. And even though they themselves don't know it, the hosts have no way of truly fighting back. And as the viewer, that is what we hope to look for. The core of that hope is given to us in the form of Dolores, the original host, whose journey over the course of the season sees her loop come around full circle. I won't delve into the story arcs fully, but Dolores acts as a catalyst for the entire host population. We follow her footsteps all season long as she journeys alongside William, a new guest into the park, as she slowly begins to learn and adapt her AI. The maze was a mysterious factor all season long, and in the finale, as Dolores found the centre of it, she became the first host to be fully self-aware. And with her now realising all that is around her, a real threat of uprising could be on Westworld's hands. We were treated to a mini uprising this year though, with Maeve's story advancing in even ways Dolores's wasn't able to do. Her story was able to show us the harsh reality of the way that the hosts were treated. After death, they were dumped, cleaned, fixed, and re-sent back out into the park to do it all over again. Poor old Teddy was the brunt of that, as we saw more than 5 to 10 times this year? But at least Maeve's storyline allowed us to see both sides of the Westworld park. Her story was gripping as you really began to want her desperately to escape from the park. And even though it looks like Ford was the one pulling the strings for the whole time, possibly enabling himself to sneak data out of the park, remember that bag that Maeve left on the train with the data pad in it? She still returned in search of her missing daughter. Whether or not she will find her will be left until the show returns. And as we found out in the finale, William was the man in black. There were hints for this theory since the very, very beginning. I remember one of the first scenes that William was in when he was stood in front of all of those hats and having the choice of which one to pick. As time went by, he began to lose himself, a key factor that Logan was eager for him to fall out of. And as William learnt the hard way of the true nature of Westworld, we found out that all along their journey took place over 30 years prior to this present day. Now, Ed Harris was William, as he still sought after the centre of the maze. His journey may have been in vain at the end, since the maze was only built for the horse, but to have such a fantastic actor on screen for a prolonged period of time, and to have him play a ruthless gunslinger, was just a joy to watch. And the funny thing is, he wasn't the best of it. So let's move on to my pick for the standout character in none other than Dr. Robert Ford. Anthony Hopkins is just the master. He was calm, collected, and confidently dominated the screen in every single scene he was in. Him and Jeffrey Wright especially had great chemistry with one another. Ford was the creator of Westworld. He and his former partner Arnold were the ones who designed the whole concept of the park. It was tough to nail down at the start just where Ford's morality lied, as the first scene in which I believed he was playing the overlording big bad was that gem of a scene where he had his lunch dinner with Teresa. His very real threat as he controlled absolutely everything that surrounded him was frightening to the nail. And his scene where Bernard was revealed to be a horse, then to have him turn around and have him kill Teresa was one of the best scenes in the entirety of the first season. And that made it all the more surprising with that twist in the finale. To have it revealed that Ford was actually behind Arnold's plans for the horse all along, and telling us that all the horrors that the horse were put through was something that they had to do in order to advance, was a brilliant twist that I could not see coming. Ford figured out a way for the horse to be able to break out of their loop. Arnold thought he figured it out as he had Dolores shoot him in the head, but that was an order and not a real evolution. That's why Ford's grand plan came to blows at the ending in the finale. Dolores was given a choice of what to do with her freedom. She didn't have to kill Ford, but he knew pretty much every possible outcome, as I'm sure he predicted exactly what came to pass. That's why personally, I'm not 100% certain that Ford is dead and buried. The horse being manufactured in Ford's hidden basement still hasn't had an answer, so it could very well have been a horse of himself, designed to take that bullet. Regardless, Anthony Hopkins knocked it out of the park with his performance, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we haven't seen the last of him and he'll be back sometime in the future.
So I will ask you nicely, please don't get in my way.
My overall verdict for the first season of Westworld is a 9 out of 10. It deserves it. For me, the show is up there with some of the best that have released this year. Its high budget, time and quality production that goes into it is the reason why season 2 is likely to be out in 2018. It's a lot longer than normal between seasons as the creators want to take their time with it, and for me, I am totally down with that. I've always enjoyed the Western setting. It's just one of those pastimes in which plenty of people enjoy watching. And for the show itself, it doesn't focus solely on one character. Dolores is the key and effectively the main character, yes, but there's just such a wide array of talent on display that the show can shift to and fro seamlessly so that you can't really tell who's a main and who's a side character. Standout scenes include the Bernard revealed as a host, Ford's lunch dinner with Teresa, the man in black breaking out of his cell, and of course, the massacre at the very end. And that's just naming a few off the top of my head. Quite honestly, pretty much every scene with Anthony Hopkins was something to remember. He just added such a titanic presence to the screen. And like I mentioned in my finale review, when you have an actor with as much calibre as him in your show, you always have that niggling feeling in your back of your head that he could only be around for a limited time. Ed Harris has been confirmed for season 2. That we know for sure. So hopefully that means there's plenty more of the Man in Black once Westworld returns to our screens. As for Ford, I'm hoping that his grand scheme sees him return sometime in the not too distant future. Those two I just named are the biggest actors amongst such a huge ensemble cast. Aside from Ford, Jeffrey Wright, who plays Bernard, was a particular highlight for the show. His ability to play both sides of Bernard is perhaps the crucial element of to why I enjoyed the character so much. His shock and horror when he discovered his true form was terrific acting, and Jeffrey Wright will hopefully receive some commendation. It's tough for anyone to stand side by side with someone like Anthony Hopkins, but Jeffrey Wright impressed immensely, and I look forward to any more Bernard that is still to come in the show. And to fall back and mention that massacre again, ending on a note like that will no doubt have fans across the world speculating for quite some time. The show did incredibly well to wrap up plenty of its early questions, and looking back at it, Season 1 could essentially act as a little bit of a prequel, with Season 2 kicking off the true advancement of the horse in the park. Whether or not that will lead them outside of the park walls into a full-scale, wide-open world remains to be seen. But so far, one hell of a strong start for another one of HBO's shows. So, what were your impressions from the first season of Westworld, and what was your favourite moment from the first season? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the review. And I'll see you on the next one.
These violent delights have violent ends.
So I hope you will enjoy this last piece very much.